Okay, let me start by thanking all of my new subscribers and Twitter followers for choosing to be interested in anything that I have to say. I also want to thank anybody who has posted a comment on my last Lost series finale interpretation video, because whether you agree with my opinions or not, you have definitely created and sparked some interesting conversation, which I haven't really had thus far yet, so I appreciate that, and I'm having a good time talking to all of you. Earlier today, I posted another piece that I wrote on my Tumblr as well called Why Lost Had to End This Way. And it's all just about how Damon and Carlton said in the recap show before the finale that ultimately Lost was a character study. And I guess this piece is really just my interpretation of that and proving why I really do feel that Lost was a character study. And if you look at it that way, then the show was very successful. Okay. In this video, I actually just want to talk about Lost's actual choice to make the move from sci-fi to spiritual. I also really want to talk about the writing and how the writing really ultimately is the thing that impacted this change from sci-fi to spiritual. I kind of touched upon it in my last video, but I didn't really give an explanation or maybe my opinion on it. I just said that I enjoyed the way that the show ended as opposed to the actual choice to move. Now, as I've stated over and over, and I'm sure you guys are getting kind of tired of hearing me say it, I really believe that the writers were aiming to simply show us the story of Jack's spiritual journey. Naturally, along the way, as viewers, we became very attached to the other characters. Had we known all along that the show was just about Jack and looked at it from that perspective from the very beginning, maybe we wouldn't be as disappointed, maybe we wouldn't feel the way that we do right now. I guess it's up for interpretation as to whether or not that's really a flaw in the writing of Lost or not. I mean, granted, I think that it was written very well, and I think that the story was told very well. I personally don't have a problem with not knowing about Jack until the end, but I know a lot of people are having a problem dealing with that, and I think that maybe, I don't know, that's something that the writers could have taken into consideration earlier in the game. I think the thing that we need to do is look at the show and the perspective that it's intended, which I believe is this way, that it was all about Jack. And I think that if we do that, then ultimately the writers didn't fail us by going spiritual. They gave us what they kind of signed up for, which I guess in their heads was to show us this journey of not only the characters, but specifically Jack. I'm noticing that a lot of people feel that the writers copped out and forgot a lot of things. But I mean, as I wrote in the article on my blog called The Significance of the Island, I really don't think that that kind of matters in the end. Some people were bringing up the fact that the writers forgot about Michael and they didn't give him any kind of redemption in the purgatory, that Anna Lucia, why didn't she go to the church? They just didn't care. I don't think that's how it is. One of the episodes surrounding Michael's death, Michael even said that he couldn't kill himself because he was stuck on the island. And right before he died, Christian Shepherd came to him, but he was being possessed by the black smoke. And he said that Michael could go now. Then on the Jimmy Kimmel special, if you watch that after the finale, the actor that played Michael told viewers that Michael was one of the whispers in the jungle, and that those were all souls that were just kind of damned to an eternity of just bad. Personally, I think that that's because they chose to go with the black smoke and be on the bad side of things, and that's why they got given that. And I guess that opens up the whole idea of maybe the island really is hell, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, that's not really what I'm getting into right now. So there's an explanation for Michael, and the writers didn't forget him. With Anna Lucia, she bailed Desmond and Saeed and Kate out of jail. And specifically, when Hurley says, I didn't know Anna Lucia was going to be here, Desmond specifically says to him, she's not ready yet. Meaning that she just wasn't enlightened enough, kind of like Ben. She just wasn't really ready to move on the way that that group of characters was. Really, whether or not we like the way Lost ended, I think that what everyone's kind of forgetting to realize is that the executive producers got us interpreting left and right. They've got us making videos like this, and they've got us talking and doing all this discussion. We're all trying to figure out this metaphysical and spiritual messages that they presented us with. We're trying to pinpoint all the metaphors. That's what they wanted. Because if we dissect all of these aspects of the show, eventually we're going to get to the root of the story that not only they were trying to teach us with, but they were just trying to tell. In the end, they're storytellers. And this was a story about spirituality. Ultimately, it's their choice to take it in that direction, whether we approve of it or not. And I know that you all probably realize that. I think that the biggest thing about sci-fi is that it's a story. That's why everyone loves it. I mean, look at things like Star Trek. People loved it because they loved the characters, not necessarily, I mean, all the things that happened in it were cool. Just like in Lost, all the things that happened were cool, that were science fiction and things that we could probably never do in our real lives. But the reason we really loved it was because of the characters and the story that we were being told about them. And in the end, that really gives us the ability to still really own the show as viewers. If they wrapped everything up, I don't know, we wouldn't really be talking about this, would we? There wouldn't be so much discussion. It's not really over to us because we're still trying to figure it out. And if we didn't have to figure it out, then it really would be. Until the moment comes where we want to stop talking about Lost and how crazy the finale was, whether we liked it or were disappointed by it, then the show is still alive and it's pretty much still in the air because we're still talking about it. We're still interpreting it. We're still getting the message that it was trying to give us, whether we like the message or not. So in the end, to be honest, I think the choice to go spiritual and the writing behind it, personally, I think they were brilliant.